Hey guys, it's the day after election. I haven't posted a video in a while, and I thought I would, post a video about the outcome. And I usually try to stay away from politics and religious type videos on here. I mean, I let it, I've alluded to different things, before, and actually before I started doing nothing but entertainment videos, I was a primarily religious, YouTube channel and stuff. Um, but since I've been recreating my online presence and stuff, I've decided to stay away from certain things. But I also feel like this is something really important, and in case anyone that watches my videos or follows me wants to know my opinion on things, then I figured this would be the easiest way for everyone to be able to, go to one place and hear what I think. Now, as I've also alluded to previously on my channel, I do have a bit of a past, and it's not something I'm going to go into on YouTube. It's just not. Maybe one day when I'm older or in a better place in life and things like that, different things. But firstly, I do want to make it be known that I was unable to vote in this election. So I did not cast a vote. But that doesn't mean that I didn't have strong feelings, and that doesn't mean that I wouldn't have voted if I could have, because if I could have, I would. I would have. But we all make mistakes in life, and unfortunately, these are part of the consequences of my past. So, you can't dwell on the past. You have to move on and accept the consequences. But I want to make that known first so that there's no confusion or anything. And so, in the early days of election, and I mean like last year, I honestly, there wasn't a single candidate that I really had much faith in. I paid attention to some. There were some that I felt like I could get behind or I could support, but I really didn't like anyone. On the Republican side, I sort of kind of liked Carly Fiorina, but the only candidate that I've ever had any faith in was Mitt Romney, which I am lucky enough to say that when I was allowed to vote, I was able to vote for him. I voted for him twice. First time he ran, I was able to vote for him in the primaries, and then I ended up going and voting for McCain when it was between him and Obama, and then I voted for Romney again the second time he ran. So I was lucky enough to take part in the last election, but he was the only one that I really had any faith. And as far as the Republicans go, as far as the Democrats go, I live in a mostly Republican family and a conservative home. So call it whatever you want, but I never really, focused on Democratic candidates, so I didn't really know. And I'm not really into politics and things like that. That's something I also need to say up front is, I don't like politics. I don't like watching the news or any of that kind of stuff. It's not that I don't understand the importance of politics and knowing what's going on in the world and things like that, but at this place in my life, I just really don't. excuse my French, but I really just don't give a shit. It's the last thing I really want to pay attention to when I turn on the TV or want to read articles online and things. Um, because of those reasons, I guess you could say I never really focused much on the Democratic side, and since obviously Obama being a Democrat is our president or was our president. I knew that the candidates were going to be more, there weren't going to be as many, and and Hillary Clinton, and Bernie Sanders already knew of, from past elections and history and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't really have to go into research on them. But as things got closer and closer to yesterday, I paid more and more attention to things, and I watched two of the debates during the primaries, and I watched two of the debates when it got down to between Hillary and Donald. So after last night, I have a lot of feelings. I have a lot of concerns. Something I posted on Twitter was, the truth of the matter is I have friends and family from all walks of life, on all sides of things, and it didn't matter who became president. I was going to know people that were going to get screwed over by one thing or another. And so this election was going to be a lose-lose either way, for me. Because I was going to know people that were going to get hurt regardless. So I was just now looking forward to everything, because I understood everything that was at stake. And that made me kind of more depressed that I am in the place that I'm in, and I made the mistakes that I made because, I don't get to take part in this. And, but I digress, the fact that Trump won, it scares me. As a part of the LGBTQ community, I am gay. When it came out that gay marriage was a thing, or a possibility at the very least, I got ecstatic because for once in my life, after all the hardship that I had faced and dealing with my sexuality my whole life, I felt like it was a huge win, and I felt like there was the possibility for happiness and for love for me, even if I had to fight against the religious side of things with certain people. I didn't have to worry about the political side, or the fact of whether or not it's legal or not, or all that kind of stuff. I'm worried. I'm worried about an appeal happening. I'm worried about what might be said from the pulpit, if you will. I'm worried about what the American people will do if certain things are said from the pulpit. I'm worried about what kind of country we are going to be. I don't have a lot of hope. But here's the funny thing, though, and I need everyone to understand this, is I wouldn't feel much different if Clinton had won either. Because like I said, I have friends and family from all over. From the LGBTQ point of view, I wouldn't have to worry about things. I wouldn't have to worry about all the progress that has been made being demolished. But there are other things that I would have had to worry about, you know. I know that if Clinton became president, it would be much harder for the people that I know that have small businesses to be able to make things work, you know. Whereas with Trump, if things go according to plan, it won't be that much harder for them. It would stay pretty much the same, you know. So there are different sides to all of this, and that's what's frustrating to me is I can't be excited either way, you know. And for those of you curious, who I would have voted for at the election if I could have, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I was thinking about it all day long yesterday. Who would I have? What would I have done? You know, would I have voted for a third party? Would I have voted for, you know, Trump? Would I have voted for Clinton? And I don't know. I really don't. And that's a frightening thought in itself for me. But at the end of the day, this is the way I look at things sometimes. When I have to make a decision, is if I had a gun to my head and I had to make a decision between those two, I would probably have voted for Clinton. You know, I don't like her. I've told friends and family this, and I'll put it out here because it's the truth and how I felt. If the first stuff that started coming out about her were the only things to come out, I would have no problem casting my vote for her. But over the last 2 weeks, all the new stuff coming out, whether it was timely planned by the Trump campaign or the Russians, or it was just stuff coming out, it doesn't really matter to me how or why it came out. The fact that it's there, the fact that it came out at all, it worried me. But I would have voted for her because, for me, as important as my religion is to me, as important as a lot of things are to me, I'm a hopeless romantic. And for me, the LGBTQ stuff wins out over everything else to me. Because I want to know that I can have a happy life one day. You know, now there's always the possibility that, you know, because I did watch this morning when I woke up, I watched Trump's acceptance speech, you know, her victory speech, you know, and I did think that he was pretty humble, and a lot more somber than he has been during the campaign. So who knows? You know, he might get in there and actually do a lot of good. And I've said that from the beginning. You know, I can only base what I see on TV and the news and how he chooses to present himself during the debates. That's all we as the people have to go on, you know. And it's on that I didn't have a lot of, or I guess you've been to, you know, his rallies and stuff too, you know, but I, you know, didn't go to any of his rallies, obviously, or hers. So, you know, but that's the only stuff we have to go on. And, but now that he's in, things might not be so bad, you know, and that's what I'm hoping is, I'm hoping honestly that it was just a show and that it was just to get in. And now that he's in, he'll pull back a lot and he'll be more understanding, and now that he has the control, that he knows the severity of the position he's in, and he will hold it with responsibility, you know, and earn the respect of all Americans and all of us that live here in this country, because I think that is the most important thing. But as of right now, because it's still just one day after, it's 3:30 right now, p.m. I'm still pretty numb, you know. I'm still pretty kind of in the air. Time will tell on whether those of you who were able to vote voted right or not, you know. I hope you did. I hope he's able to do a lot of good for this country. But I guess in conclusion, the overwhelming fear is for my safety, because just as I will not back away from my faith and my religion, should the day come where, you know, Christians are persecuted, I'm not going to back away from my sexuality either, and who I know that I am. And if things get bad for the LGBTQ community, I'm just scared, you know. That's all I can really say, you know. But for now, we need to give the man the benefit of the doubt, you know. I don't think as of right now there are any plans of anything really bad happening. You know, I think it's all in a lot of our heads, maybe, just because of the things he's said and the image he's put out there. I think the important thing is for all of us to band together and to stand together and to be strong. And if that day ever comes, we'll deal with it when it's there. So that's my thoughts. I probably won't make an update video to this or a second video. If you make, you know, I'll be more than willing to. Actually, you know what? I'm going to disable the comments because I don't want this to become a feud. I want to turn all that stuff off. This is just a watch. This is just me putting my thoughts out there. Those of you that have my phone number and have contact with me, you're more than welcome to contact me that way. But everyone else, just, you know, deal with it however you have to deal with it. We'll get through it together. Peace out.